Hi, friends. It's your girl Harpo. Welcome to this episode of Brown Girl Guilt titled XOXO Gossip Girl. Now, I have to be completely honest that I've actually never even watched Gossip Girl. So the fact that this episode is titled XOXO Gossip Girl is kind of like me being fake a little bit, but we're just going to roll with it. All right. All right. So, this season at Brown Girl Guilt, we've explored what it means to truly love ourselves. And in that process, we've talked to some dope people around the city and out of it and asked them what it means to truly love themselves. And if I sit down and explore what it means to truly love myself and what the concept of self love looks like for me, and I guess like what this entire journey of loving myself has looked like, I would honestly say that it's been a lot of like calling myself in and calling myself out, I guess you could also say, on a lot of the problematic behaviors that I carry. Like self love to me isn't just us being super nice to ourselves and, showering ourselves with like bubble baths and masks and then like indulging in like retail therapy and, setting up boundaries around ourselves with other people. To me, self love also means like recognizing that sometimes the toxic behaviors and the toxic patterns in your life are actually done by you. Like there are things that you are doing that are flaws for a lack of a better term, that are actually adding to the chaos in your life. And I don't say that to mean like we are inherently flawed. I don't think any of us are inherently flawed. But what I think is that often we are responsible for a lot of the bullshit that we experience in our lives because we know when something is wrong and we shouldn't do it, but we do it anyway. And so for me, what it means to truly love myself is to actually recognize and become aware of the parts of me that are causing me harm, that are actively contributing to the chaos, like I mentioned, and are actually harmful to me. And so self love isn't just like weeding out all the, negative people or people that make you unhappy in your life. Self love is also looking at yourself in the mirror and recognizing where you are contributing to your own downfall, where you're holding yourself back from growing. And so this episode and some of the episodes that are going to, come after this are going to be me looking in the mirror and saying, Harpo, this is what you do that contributes to the chaos in your life. And for me, looking in the mirror has been pointing to all those things that I know are truly not aligned with who I am, but I keep doing and then I keep spiraling and I've just had enough of. It's really looking at myself and saying, we're not going to do this anymore because it doesn't contribute to your growth and it actually holds you back. Now, this episode is titled XOXO Gossip Girl because for me, gossiping is something that I've had to look at myself and say, you keep doing and you ain't allowed to do it anymore, bitch. Straight up. You're not allowed to do it anymore. And for me, I don't want to be the kind of person that gossips because to me, gossip is it holds such a negative energy, right? And it's something that I feel like I know when I'm doing it, like when I'm actively gossiping, I can literally feel myself trying to tell myself, can you please stop? We don't like this. And yet there's an element of me that likes to do it all the time, or I should say, liked to do it. And I'm going to use that in the past. So I'm going to be super candid in saying that gossiping is something that I'm really working on. And it's something that I'm releasing because for so long, nobody told me gossiping was wrong. Nobody told me that gossiping is like a low vibrational thing or that it's actually a negative thing. Gossiping to me was such a comfort. It just felt like gossiping with somebody about somebody else gave me something to relate to, gave me a reason to relate to this person and gave this person a reason to actually talk to me, which if you think about it is really rooted in an idea of like a lack of love for yourself. Like if I want to get like really deep for a second and just press pause on that idea of what I just said, you know, I used to think that the only reason that someone would engage in a conversation with me, or the only reason that I would have a meaningful conversation with someone, would be because I was telling them something about somebody else, or, that I was, like coming and telling them facts about someone, or like adding fuel to the fire and aligning myself with somebody to be like, hey, look, this person that you don't like, or this person that you have a little bit of a beef against, I have a story about them. And I think that's what gossip really is, right? Like, gossiping at its core is us trying to assert ourselves. It's us trying to like self soothe ourselves by soothing our ego and telling ourselves that we are better than the person that we're talking about, or that I am more successful, I am more good looking, I am more X, Y, and Z than the person that I'm talking about. And I feel like it's really rooted in a lack of self love for yourself, because when you're confident and you're like doing the damn thing and you're moving through the world like with your head held high, you're feeling good about yourself, you genuinely have no need to talk about anybody else. You really have no need to look outside of your own tunnel vision to see what the hell the other person next to you is doing, right? Or the person behind you, the person to your left, to your right. When you're focused on yourself and you're committed to your self growth and you're committed to like where you're going, it shouldn't matter what anybody else is doing, right? You should have no need to gossip. But I felt like because I was so insecure in myself for so long, because, I literally had nothing else going on in my life, the most comfort, that I found was talking about someone else. Because what it did was it made me deflect from the fact and forget the fact that, hey, there actually isn't anything going on in my life, you know, and that I'm going to talk about somebody else because I literally have nothing else to talk about with all these people in my life. And what it's done now for me is made me realize that the busier I get, right? And I know this to be true because the busier that I get, the more aligned that I get with myself, the less I have to say about other people. And that's why I know that gossiping was something that I was doing, that, gossiping was rooted in a lack of love for myself. Because if I truly loved myself, if I truly was like, I'm the shit and I have nothing to complain about, I have nothing to be insecure about, I wouldn't even talk down on anybody else. And I now, when I'm moving through the world, I'm starting to like actively make a choice to be like, I'm not going to gossip. Not because, I mean, like, okay, like in theory, gossiping is wrong, right? Like, we shouldn't be talking about other people. We shouldn't be spewing negative energy towards people. And, we shouldn't, we should just not do it, right? It's like, it's this old age understanding that people who are gossips are like jock, or they're like, they're like full of themselves or whatever. But I think like, I don't wanna gossip because it's a reflection of, a version of me that is not content, not secure, not aligned, and not happy. So anytime that I find myself gossiping, I ask myself, where is this coming from? Why do you feel the need to talk about somebody else? Why is your brain so distracted from your goals and all the good stuff in your life that you felt so compelled to say something negative about somebody else? And anytime that I find myself gossiping, I see it as an invitation to ask myself, okay, well, what's missing? What is it that you're feeling truly sad about, or what's the actual reason that you wanted to talk about this person? And it wasn't until someone else in my life pointed out that, that's actually just an insecurity. Like, when I remember I was talking about someone, and talking about what so and so was wearing, or how so and so was acting, or how like that person got this award, or this person, ended up excelling at this field of their career, or whatever, this part of their career. I remember this person saying to me, honestly, that just sounds like an insecurity. And I remember like really stepping back for a second and being like, excuse me, no, like I'm not insecure. I'm just saying. And that I'm just saying is such a front, like it's such a cover up, because the truth is, if I really sit down with myself and do ask myself where that entire, spiel of so and so was doing this or that, or so and so was wearing this or that, where that entire spiel actually comes from, it is a lack of confidence in being able to do that as well. Straight up. Like, I actually don't know how to rationalize gossip in my life in any other way. And so now when I hear other people gossiping, I also think, I'm actually not going to indulge because what it's doing is showing me that it's actually an insecurity on your end, or it's just an invitation for you to really get closer and closer to what that thing is inside of you that's actually feeling lacking or actually is asking to be self-soothed. And for me, I wouldn't even use the word jealous. I think I would use the word envious, because to me jealousy and envy are two different things. I think jealousy to me is like, well, look at that person, like look at them. Whereas envy is, oh, I wish I was that person. And so I don't think I was jealous, but I was envious of the people that I was gossiping about. And I have no shame in saying that. And I feel like I can say that because I'm actively working on it. And I do feel like it's a thing of the past because I have grown exponentially. I think that it was always rooted in a place of envy. So if somebody was wearing something and I wanted to gossip about it, I would be like, "Oh my god, so and so's wearing that thing." Deep down, I was envious that they looked freaking hot in that, you know? Or if I was like gossiping about so and so and like what how they made me feel or something, or gossiping about how someone walked into a room and like commanded the room and was taking up a lot of space. If I decided to go back home and gossip about it to my friends, really where it was coming from was a place of envy that I couldn't walk into the room and also do the same thing. And so gossiping has been something that has really been a window into my lack of self-love. And I know this to be true because when I'm fully aligned and I'm popping, I'm doing my thing, I know I do not gossip. I think like in a similar sense, if I'm not participating in gossip anymore, if I'm not spewing gossip, I think what's been really important to my self-love journey is to also look around me and ask myself which relationships in my life were rooted in gossip. Like, who was I friends with only to gossip, and who in my life contributed to that, you know, I want to say negative habit, like bad habit. Who contributed to my bad habit of gossiping? And honestly, like, who am I friends with just for the sake of gossiping? Like, do you ever have those friends in your life where like you guys just get together to talk shit? Like that phrase that we've kind of adopted in this like 21st century of like talking shit, I absolutely hate it. I hate the idea of like linking with your friends and hanging out with your friends and all you've done that entire night is talk shit. Like, I don't understand why we get together and why we talk shit. To be honest, there's no reason for us to talk shit, right? Like, there is so much more that we can be talking about. We can be talking about what makes us happy. We can be talking about what the hell we're listening to, that movie we watched, that jacket at Lululemon that you really want to buy, but you don't know what color to buy. Like, you can talk to your girls about that. You can talk to your girls about like your dreams. You can talk to your friends about, what countries you want to travel. But I don't understand why so much of our culture is consumed with and, so interested in sitting down to talk shit. Why we schedule dates and, plans with our friends solely for the purpose of talking shit. And what I've done is literally try to weed out the people in my life who actively contribute to my bad habit of gossiping, because I'm trying really hard over here on my own to stop doing that. And if there are people in my life who are contributing to it and making me be more of a gossip, then I don't think that's a very conducive friendship. Right? I don't think that that's a healthy friendship. And what I've noticed is that physically now, when someone is gossiping around me, or I find myself almost indulging in gossip, my body will give me a feeling. My body will literally give me a sign and it'll literally say, no. And it starts to tighten. And that's when I know, okay, no, this feels so misaligned from who I am. It really doesn't really sit right with who I am and the kind of person that I'm trying to be. Because quite frankly, gossip is a waste of time. And I think that when people in our life are only relating to us, or we're only relating to people when we're talking mad shit or talking smack about other people in our life, that is an indication to shut the fuck up, in my opinion. It's an indication for us to shut the fuck up, look at ourselves in the mirror, and be like, what is it that you're really upset about, bro? Why are you talking shit about that person? And I'm not saying that like we shouldn't be able to, talk about people in our lives. We shouldn't be able to talk about, so and so and XYZ that person did. I'm not saying that, but I think that you have to really get clear on the intention. Like, if your intention is rooted in insecurity, in fear, right? And I mean fear at an existential level, like, you're really fearful of losing something or fearful of like, not measuring up to something. If your intention of talking is rooted in like just putting somebody down and making yourself feel good, that is not a healthy conversation. That is not a healthy style of communicating in your relationships. But if whatever you want to talk about is rooted in, and the intention is that you want to share how that person made you feel, and you want to be able to process your feelings with your loved ones. If there is someone that is like triggering you or something that is upsetting you in your life, and you want to share that with your friend and you want to talk about it with a loved one, by all means, right? Like, that's where I've been able to differentiate, is like when so and so is making me upset, or there's something about so and so that's really bugging me, and kind of going against the boundaries that I've set for myself, that I will indulge in. I want to process, and I always want to leave a conversation with my loved one having found a resolution. But the thing about gossip is that often it's not a resolution, right? Like, how many times have we talked shit about the exact same person again and again to no success, right? Nothing comes out of it. And so I know that I am actively working on releasing gossip because it's just not a reflection of who I want to be. I don't want to talk shit about anybody. I want to be the vessel through which people experience love. And even if it's people that I'm not jiving with or people that I'm not really vibing with, I don't want to talk shit. I just don't want to talk shit anymore. I want to walk away from people who are talking shit, and I want to walk away from people who only invite me to hang out with them to talk shit. I have nothing to talk shit about anymore. I have no one to gossip about anymore. And I have nobody in my life that I want to keep around who contributes to that bad habit. And here's the thing about our bad habits. This is what I want to anchor in. Yes, I have an awareness that I am someone who has indulged in gossiping in the past. And yes, it was always rooted in insecurity and, fear at an existential level, and really just being like dissatisfied and unhappy with myself. Yes, it was all there. And it's beautiful that I have an awareness of it. And it's beautiful that I want to stop doing it. But the thing about our flaws is that, you know, if we're gonna get down to the roots of self-love, if we're gonna continue this theme of like exploring what it means to truly love ourselves, when I realized that I'm a gossip, I felt horrible because I was like, oh shit, like I can't believe I'm the kind of person that talks shit about other people, because our bad habits have a way of like just happening without us having an awareness of them sometimes. But what true self-love really is holding yourself accountable for the bad habits that you have, right? Holding yourself accountable for the actions that you take that contribute to the chaos in your life, and still telling yourself you are human, you make mistakes, and you are going to hurt people, and you are going to hurt yourself. It doesn't make you an inherently bad person, but what it does require is accountability and responsibility, and an understanding that you are contributing to this chaos, right? If you feel like negativity is always following you around, and drama is always following you around, you have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, how much of the drama am I contributing to? How much of the chaos am I contributing to? And for me, how much I gossiped and how much I participated in gossip was a large portion of what contributed to the drama and chaos in my life. And so, the pillars of brown girl guilt are gratitude, glory, and grace. And I think that if I apply those pillars to even my bad habit of gossiping, what I would say to myself is, I am so, so grateful that I have an awareness of the fact that I gossiped, right? And I'm going to grant myself grace because I wasn't born a gossip. Somewhere along the way, I became a gossip, but I'm going to grant myself grace for the version of me that used to gossip, and grant this version of myself grace too, to say, you used to be that kind of person. You're not that person anymore. So stop being hard on yourself. You're actively making the change. And if I apply the principle and pillar of glory, I think about how wonderful it feels to be the kind of person who who I actually am at my core, which is a person who doesn't gossip, who doesn't talk shit, who doesn't spew negativity, who doesn't hate on other people, is genuinely happy for people, is so happy and secure in herself that it doesn't matter what so and so is doing. And that in that glory that I get to bask in, that comes from being my truest authentic self feels damn good, it feels damn good. And so for me, self-love has been telling myself, you are not XOXO gossip girl. You're Harpo, the vessel through which people experience love.